Disney's upcoming live-action Snow White is shaping up to be an absolute disaster. And honestly, I can't wait. Not to watch it, but to see just how badly it flops. Every decision Disney has made with this film has been a misstep. And Rachel Zegler's involvement has only made things worse. It's almost impressive how quickly she's managed to derail her own career. The latest box office projections, as of February 21st, paint a grim picture. Snow White is expected to open with just $65 to $85 million domestically. And the international outlook isn't any better. Sure, anything could happen. Maybe it defies expectations, but based on Zegler's box office track record, I wouldn't bet on it. Even Disney seems to realize they're in trouble, and now they're desperately scrambling to salvage what they can. What's truly hilarious? How blatantly they're backpedaling. For months, Disney pushed the narrative that the original Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was outdated, problematic, and in need of a modern update. But after witnessing the massive backlash, they've suddenly changed their tune, now desperately, clinging to nostalgia as if this was always meant to be a faithful homage to the beloved classic. Let's be real, Disney's Snow White remake was never meant to be a faithful adaptation, and we all know it. But now, after months of backlash, Disney is desperately trying to convince audiences that it is. Rachel Zegler played a huge role in killing goodwill for this movie. Within a week of being cast, she trashed the 1937 classic, mocking the romance, calling the prince a creepy stalker, and outright dismissing the very story that made this remake possible. And now, Disney expects people to believe this film is a heartfelt tribute? The hypocrisy is staggering. First, the new teaser trailer dropped, but not on YouTube. Instead, Disney hid it away on X, formerly Twitter. That's a huge red flag. Studios only avoid YouTube when they expect backlash, and Disney knows exactly what's coming. The trailer is carefully edited to resemble the original animated film, something Disney has never done with its live-action remakes before. They've completely lost control of the narrative, so now they're selling nostalgia in a last-ditch effort to win people back. Second, Zegler's past controversial comments have resurfaced, reminding everyone why this film turned fans off. In the first place, social media is ripping the movie apart, and it's becoming painfully clear that Disney is in deep trouble. Disney severely underestimated just how much damage Rachel Zegler has done to Snow White's reputation. This entire situation is a textbook case of how not to market a film. They thought they could rewrite a beloved classic, mock its legacy, and still expect audiences to show up. But with these weak box office projections, it looks like Disney is about to learn a very expensive lesson. Now, in full-blown panic mode, Disney is desperately trying to rewrite the narrative. Suddenly, they're claiming this is a faithful one-to-one remake of the 1937 classic. But we all know that's a lie. Just look at the new trailer, formatted for TikTok, designed to mislead casual viewers who might not realize how drastically different this movie actually is. One of the biggest changes? Snow White's name no longer comes from her fair skin. Now, it's because of a snowstorm. Seriously? Disney might think they can trick people into showing up opening weekend, but once audiences catch on, word will spread fast. To be fair, none of Disney's so-called live-action remakes have been exact copies of the originals. Even The Lion King, which came the closest, still had major changes. But this is practically unrecognizable. You only saw this latest trailer, you might think, oh wow, they're finally doing a true live-action remake. Nope. And now, Disney has dropped a new 1-minute, 58-second featurette, using the same trick as their 30-second teaser, leaning hard into nostalgia, hoping people will forget everything they've said over the past year. No matter how Disney tries to package it, this Snow White is not the one fans love, and no amount of marketing magic can change that. And suddenly, after months of trashing the 1937 classic as outdated and problematic, Disney is backtracking hard. And as for Zegler, she's got to be sweating bullets. Because if this movie flops, it could be the final nail in the coffin for her leading lady career. Maybe she'll still land supporting roles, but as the face of a major blockbuster, this would be her 4th or 5th flop in a row. And Hollywood doesn't hand out second chances forever. And let's talk about costume design and set pieces. Because Disney just dropped a new look at the film. And let's just say, Disney just dropped a new Snow White featurette, desperately trying to convince fans that they've stayed true to the original film. But let's be real, this is nothing more than smoke and mirrors. They're sprinkling in a few nostalgic references, hoping no one will notice just how drastically different this movie really is. But fans aren't falling for it. No longer about her fair complexion. Now, she's named after a snowstorm. Forget judging beauty. It now only talks about inner beauty because, of course, they had to force in modern twists even when they don't. Makes sense. And even with these forced updates, the visuals still fall flat. The sets and costumes lack the timeless charm of the original, and audiences are not impressed. Social media is already tearing into Rachel Zegler's performance, and people aren't buying Disney's sudden nostalgia act. Disney thought they could rewrite a beloved classic, mock its legacy, and still get audiences to show up. They're learning the hard way that fans aren't playing along. The latest Snow White featurette is getting absolutely ratioed from the start. The numbers speak for themselves. 148K. Views only 3.5K upvotes. A staggering 19K downvotes. That's not just a flop, that's a brutal rejection from audiences. And at this rate, Disney's Snow White is shaping up to be one of the biggest disasters in the studio's history. Stay tuned because this backlash, the internet has unanimously decided to roast this movie into oblivion, and honestly, at this point, it's just brutal. One standout comment perfectly captures how people feel about Rachel Zegler. Whenever Rachel speaks, it's like having a soul. Monster invade the conversation, but the mockery doesn't stop there. Fans are actually rooting for a minor character because despite having little significance, she embodies more of the fairy tale spirit than actual Snow White. One viral comment even jokes, "I'm rooting for Gato in the poison apple role." Imagine that. People are more invested in a side character than the heroine of the film. And here's the real kicker. Disney started its animated empire with Snow White. And now, it looks like they might just end their live-action remake era with Snow White as well. Some fans are even saying that Gato is the only reason they'd consider watching this movie. Others are taking the mockery even further, suggesting the film doesn't just need a race swap, it needs a full cast swap. That tells you everything you need to know. This isn't just a minor flop in the making, this could be the final nail in the coffin for Disney's live-action remakes. The cracks have been showing for a while now. Mulan 2020. Huge budget, massive marketing, still flopped. The Little Mermaid 2023 struggled overseas. Disney desperately spun it as a success. Disney hasn't learned from its mistakes. And now, they're headed straight for another embarrassment. They thought they could tear down a beloved classic, mock its legacy, and still get audiences to show up. But that's not how this works. Fans love these original films for a reason. The internet is making it clear. This movie is set to be a catastrophe for Disney. Their live-action remakes have run their course, and Snow White might just be the final nail in the coffin.